Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables and welcome to my August wrap up. So we are done with summer. As you can see, I've already decorated for fall. It is what it is. Either way, I'm going to talk about the books I read this month. I read 7 books, which is pretty good because it was a very stressful month, and I'm hoping as fall goes forward I can read more books because life will somewhat be like slowing and just having a set schedule, which is always a really good thing in my house. But either way, I have 7 books. Let's talk about them. So if you don't know, with my wrap-ups, I always talk about the least favorite book I read during the month working up to my favorite. So first up, I have one that the cover really drew me and the plot drew me, but sadly I just ended up not liking it, and that was What Kind of Paradise by Janelle Brown. I've never read a book by this author. This whole book, that what drew me in is the whole, it says a teenage girl breaks free from her father's world of isolation to discover that her whole life is a lie. So I was like, that sounds very intriguing. So this whole book is set in the mid-90s, and it's about a teenage girl named Jane who has been living in like the wilderness of Montana in the cabin with her father, and that's the only life she knows. She never has went to school really. She's always been taught by her father. She doesn't have any friends. And then one day she kind of breaks free, and it's more about the technology because she learns more about who her father is, about her so-called mother, things like that. And I think I gave this book a 3, okay? It was just okay. I think I went into it expecting this really big mystery, and it really wasn't. It was more about this character that has broken free from her dad, but also learning about technology and the world around it and how much will AI kind of control our future, which I didn't really get the whole point of the book with that. I don't know. I think I don't know. I just didn't jive with it. It wasn't for me. It was beautifully written, I'll say that. But this one sadly just wasn't one that I ended up like loving. So there's that. Then we have Rom-Com by Olivia Dade. This is a fun one. I actually heard about this book, like she was writing it, because I actually got a chance to meet her in person last year, and she's like, I'm writing this book, Rom-Com, and I was very excited about it. And again, the plot sounds amazing. Teaming up with your neighbor during a zombie outbreak is no brainer, but it turns out he's a vampire. The stakes couldn't be higher. You get it. It was okay. Olivia Dade, she's an amazing person, super sweet, super kind, but I think I just don't love her books. I just like them. That's just me. So this is about a character named Edie who lives in a town of like zombies. There was a zombie outbreak that the government kind of did with testing on things, and there's like different zones within where she lives, all that kind of stuff. And then basically one day she sees a zombie about to attack her neighbor Chad, and she decides to like help him, and it turns out his name's not Chad. He has this whole underground bunker and things like that because he's actually a vampire named Max. And so they try to figure out, why is there a bigger zombie outbreak going on, like what's the government not telling us? And so they team up. It gets steamy. It was fun. I will say it wasn't really paranormal as much as I wanted to, honestly. I was hoping for more zombie action, more vampire action. It just so happens to be that the love interest is a zombie, and it just so happens to be that there is a zombie outbreak. It wasn't like a real big driving force of the book, but that's just me. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It was cute. I'd say if you want something light and not so spooky, but paranormal-ish for Halloween, I would check it out, but it just wasn't amazing to me. Then we have a Sherry LaPena book, her newest one, She Didn't See It Coming. Again, a 3.5 out of 5. I've said it time before, I have read a lot of Sherry LaPena books. I don't have like a favorite of hers. I wouldn't say she's like a favorite thriller author. She's a popcorn thriller author for me. I love reading her books, whether it be the fall, the summer. I know they're quick, they're easy digestible, and they're just a good time. They're just a quick thriller read. They're popcorn thrillers, and that's exactly what this one was. I did actually like this one. So this is about Bryden and Sam, who are great. They live in this great condominium, and they have a daughter. Everything's so peachy keen, and then one day, the wife doesn't bring Bryden, hopefully that's her name, does not pick up her daughter from daycare, and so they have to call the dad, and they're all trying to figure out what has happened to her. You get lots of different points of views from other people that live there with her in like the same apartment complex, and then also from her sister, things like that. And so the whole thing is about where did Bryden go, and kind of uncovering people's secrets, because that's kind of her shtick. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. Is it super memorable? No, but like if you just want a quick and easy and fun, interesting thriller, I would check it out. Like, it wasn't anything to write home about, but I enjoyed it, as I do with most of her books. There hasn't been one yet that I've read that I'm like, this is amazing. Maybe one day I will. I'm not sure. Next up, we have The Blonde Who Came In From the Cold by Ally Carter. This is the sequel companion novel to The Blonde Identity, which I read earlier this year and really enjoyed. These books are just meant to be fun, okay? If you read too much into it, you're not going to enjoy it. I'd say if you like the movie Spy or like The Spy Who Dumped Me, this is a great series for you because those are just fun, dumb spy movies. Could those characters be spies in real life? No, it's just a good time watching it and reading about it, and that's exactly what this one is. So this book follows the other twin sister because the whole first book is about the first twin sister, This one's actually about the spy, Alex, who she basically 10 years ago, they joined the CIA. 6 years ago, he left the game. 5 years ago, they fell in love. 1 year, she ran out in the cold with absolutely no intention in coming back. And 2 minutes ago, they woke up bloody and bruised and handcuffed to each other. So it's about her and I forget his name. I feel horrible. It's about her and King. They are both spies, CIA, and they both develop feelings for each other. They're definitely enemies to lovers, and then kind of they don't talk for a while, and then they end up handcuffed together by a villain, and things kind of happen. I didn't love this one nearly as much as the first one. The first one is just a fun, cute, spy romantic time. This one definitely has all the yearning because you can tell both these characters like each other and you're just like, get the crap over it and get together, duh. But they are both so stubborn. And also there was a lot of time jumps of like where it'll be now and then it will go back to like 5 years when they're in Paraguay or something like that, and I found that kind of confusing, and I just didn't love the romance as much as the first one. But I mean, overall, when it boils down to it, it's a fun spy romance, and I'm learning I really like that genre, so I might have to read more. If you have any good ones, let me know. But I mean, it's a good time. I would say, honestly, the first one was like a 4 or 4.5 for me. This one's like a 3, 3.5. It was just kind of, But, you know, if she writes more within this world, I will definitely read it, okay? Okay. I guess this was the month of just reading a lot of thrillers because I read 13 Months Haunted by Jimmy Giuliano. He wrote Dead 11, and I always say with him, whoever designs his covers, amazing. Give all the money to them because they really know how to get the millennials. Like, I bought this mainly because it has a VHS on the cover, and they're like, okay, we'll hear you out and raise you a freaking CD. So, I mean, if I see a CD on the cover of VHS, will my millennial heart buy it? Yes, it will. But this was a fun time. I would give it a 4 out of 5. This would be a great movie, honestly. So, I don't want to give too much away. Okay, so basically it's like right after Y2K. 2000, okay? Okay. And we follow a character named Piper who moved to this small town, and she is like a librarian clerk. She's this local middle school to tell them that the library is hosting this like Halloween spooky writing contest. And there she sees a girl named Avery who's accompanied by her mother, and she notices that her mother is always with Avery, and it's just kind of odd. And then Avery asks to be like kind of tutored with her in the library, and so she learns more about Avery and how things are kind of off. And it says, because there's something dark inside of Avery. This book is kind of like a combination of the movie The Ring and Unfriended. Kind of get that vibe with like computer mixed with kind of horror, if you will. It was creepy. It's not like overly horror or anything like that, but I enjoyed it. Let's suspend your disbelief. But I, again, really liked it. 4 out of 5. Definitely love Jimmy Giuliano's books. Nobody talks about them quite nearly as much as I think they should. That is my child. But I enjoy them. 4 out of 5. I liked it. Then we have another thriller I read, and that is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. This is her first adult thriller. If you don't know, she wrote the trilogy If you don't know, she wrote the trilogy A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I really enjoy. So this is her first adult thriller book. I liked it. It's definitely more spookier, creepier, all of the things. This book takes place literally on Halloween. So if you're looking for a good Halloween thriller, look no further. So this book follows a character, Jet. And basically at the beginning of this book, it's Halloween. She's at like a Halloween kind of festival with her family because her family kind of has a construction area in this town, and she decides to go home early. So she goes home, and then she is brutally attacked and left for dead. And somebody finds her, and miraculously, she lives. But the doctor says, you have an aneurysm now because of how much you were attacked, and either we can operate on it, which I don't recommend because there's like a 2% survival rate, or your aneurysm's gonna burst in like a week. And so Jet's like, what the crap? And so she decides, you know what? I literally only have a week left to live. I'm gonna figure out who attacked me, because that's gonna have to be the last thing she does in this life. And so that is what this whole book is about her trying to figure out who's attacked her before her aneurysm burst. And it was interesting. She was her own sleuth. She tried to figure out her own like attacking thing. And I will say, the one thing I didn't love about this book is Jet. Jet was a dick. I'm just gonna be straight with you. She was not a good character. At the beginning of the book, you can tell she just really didn't care. And I do think she made some growth at the end, but I was still like, you're kind of a dick. Maybe I'm the only one that felt that way. I don't know. Regardless, what happened to her was horrible. Wouldn't know. But it was interesting. I enjoyed it. Would highly recommend it. A good kind of segue into adult thriller for her. I also really love the whole inside, like she only has 7 days left to live. It's like a whole bunch of MRI scans. It's very interesting. The whole plot is just very interesting. And I give kudos to Holly Jackson for that. So I did really enjoy it. Last book I read totally took me by surprise, and that was The X-Vows by Jessica Joyce. And I read this, just bear with me, because I was really feeling a good second chance romance. I'm pretty sure binging The Summer I Turned Pretty season 3 has really affected me with that. Now, that's another fun thing with that whole thing. That show has exploded into epic proportions. What also really shocked me is how many people don't know how it's going to end. I'm like, it's based on a book trilogy. Like, it's not a, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that was one of the first ever trilogies I ever reviewed on this channel, like 11 years ago. So it always has a place in my heart. But either way, I just wanted a book full of yearning, full of second chance romance. And I was like, I've heard about The X-Vows. I'll pick it up. Freaking loved it. 5 out of 5. I will get my copy today. This book, I did not expect to like it as much as I did. So this book follows a character named Georgia who has a best friend named Adam, and he is getting married. Only his wedding is kind of cursed, and I can't blame him for feeling like that because, like, the DJ gets food poisoning a week before and cannot do the wedding. The officiant gets sick and can't do a wedding. The freaking venue gets caught on fire. Like, things just keep happening. You know, you can't fault the man for thinking like his wedding's cursed. And so Georgia decides to step up. She's like, look, I'm going to help out. I'm going to try to find a new venue, do all these things. And then so does their other best friend, Eli. And Eli and Georgia have had a past. They were best friends. They all were. They're kind of like a little trio. And then Georgia and Eli fell in love, and then they broke up, and now it's been years, and they've never really been around each other. And so now they're spending a whole week together trying to salvage their other best friend's wedding. And so they are thrown together a lot. And oh my gosh, the tension, the yearning, the steaminess, chef's kiss. Loved it. 5 out of 5. I also resonated so deeply with the character of Georgia. She is very scared to be needy. She's scared to let people know that she needs them a lot because she thinks that they'll be like, you're too much for me. I can't deal with you. You can't be my friend. I can't be in love with you because of that. I am very much like that. I do not like to rely on people. I don't like to need people because I'm afraid of being too needy or being like, you're really too much, like you, wow. And I don't know why, I just connected with Georgia. I loved how her and Eli were very mature with each other and talked, and they were just grown adults, and I appreciated that so much. This is one I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. I know Gabby from Gabby Reads actually turned me on to this book, so thank you, Gabby, because it's a new 5-star romance for me, and I loved it. So I'd say if you love a good second chance romance, a book with yearning, things like that, a good friendship group, a good growth with characters and relationships, I would highly, highly recommend checking this one out. Like, I'm so happy I read it because this summer has not been the best reading season for me, but man, freaking ate this one up. There you have all the 7 books I read in August. I'm hoping to bump this up to like 8 or 9 in September. Fingers crossed, we'll have to see. But either way, overall, pretty decent reading month, I will have to say. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.